probably have something more interesting to say, but please don't apologize. You know, I grew up in an era. I started protesting against the Vietnam War when I was 12, and I've moved on through McGovern, et cetera, and all this sounds really good, but once the inertia of a bad economy moves forward and perhaps people are getting jobs, and we're still stuck with the same system. And during Vietnam, there was a particular issue you could galvanize, you could get out on the street, and you could hold up a sign. All of these issues now that you're talking about are very important, but they're very amorphous. There is not a clear-cut, move the troops out, and then it's over. This is more, you know, we've moved from making a profit to making a killing. We've moved from taking care of people to taking care of those on top, you know, all of that. And of course, moving from having an education to getting trained from a career. And I've seen all that shift in the ensuing decades, I won't say how many, since I was out on the street. And the young man over there had asked, you know, where are the people in all this? I mean, if you put down the remote and get off the couch, what exactly are you supposed to be doing in order to ensure that this unsustainable system on so many levels actually changes or begins to change, if there's some sort of movement from stagnation to actual change, and not just a change because time moves on.
12 years old and we were already protesting. You go, girl. I like that. I like that. I'm going to start right up just because I'm on the side of waiting, and then I'll let everybody else talk. I'm going to go back to where I started, which is I actually think there is an answer to this. And I certainly don't speak for anybody else on the panel, but I think the answer comes back to what we need to demand is that the laws that we have be applied properly and appropriately. Simple thing. It's expressly forbidden to torture people. It's illegal. We already have laws against torturing people, but we gave certain people a free pass to do it. It's expressly forbidden to attack other countries without a provocation, but we gave ourselves a pass to do it. FISA says warrantless wiretapping is expressly against the law, but we let people get away with it. Alberto Gonzalez lied to Congress. That's illegal. He got away with it. Congress exempts itself from the no-call list. Selling mortgages that you know are fraudulent is illegal. It's fraud. We've given people a pass. Why did they get a pass? I would not get a pass. I guarantee it. I did some fun research for this too. Do you know in Southern California, one of the things they've started now is private prisons. They're pay-as-you-go. Yeah, so if you're wealthy, you can go to prison, and instead of sharing a cell with 8 other guys, all named Teeny, who think you're cute, you get a private cell, and you can have your cell phone, and you can have your TV, and you get 12 hours to leave every day. It sounds like a hotel to me, right? But you got to be able to pay $175 a day. But hey, if you got it, great, right? But if you don't, then you're like the rest of us, and you just have to go to the yucky jail. Well, why is the crime any less egregious if you commit it and you got money in your pocket? It's a crime is a crime is a crime, and if you commit the crime, the laws ought to apply equally to anybody that commits those crimes. And I think that there's a lot of issues floating around here that really revolve around somebody taking well-intentioned rules. I don't think we need no regulation, but I don't think we need over-regulation. I think fully centralized governments don't work. I think the evidence shows that very clearly. I think there's an issue of balance. And I think what's happened now is that the system has become unsustainable, not because it's a fundamentally unsustainable system in concept, but because it's become so out of balance. It's like anything spinning. You put a weight on one side, it's going to fall over. Take the weight off, and then it'll keep spinning. I think our system would function much better if we would go back to lots of these places where we've allowed people, particularly moneyed people, to rig the system in their favor. And I think that would solve a lot of problems.
Thank you. Dr. Muffet, Dr. Parr, you seemed a little silent during that part. Any comments on that?
I would just say that the call, the clarion call for individuals in the American system is to be involved. I don't know how many of you are actually involved in working for a campaign for a city councilman, or for somebody serving on the county council, or for somebody serving on as a state rep, or a state senate, or a United States Congress. The key is, in fact, involvement. One of those of us that are elected, and your comments earlier, is that people are largely uninvolved. And it's the absence of an informed, involved electorate which allows abuses to emerge. So the clarion call for you as university students is to be involved. You are among the elite of the nation. You're among the very elite of the world. And as was pointed earlier, unemployment among university graduates is about 4%. You are not like the rest of the world. Your education means that you carry an obligation to be informed, not for us to inform you, but for you to inform yourself. That's lifelong learning. That's the call of the American political system.
Excuse me, what about the people who are not the elite? I mean, that's just a question to you, sir. I mean, it's not just about the elite, it's about everybody.
You're right. I apologize for doing this, but I'd like to transition this into higher education disparities and affordability. Just to kind of go off of what Dr. Carr was talking about, we had a question from the audience.
I was looking at the Occupy website, some of the missions that they'd like to accomplish, and one thing I found was rather difficult to accomplish, and I wanted to know your thoughts on it. I believe one of the Occupy Wall Street things was they wanted to give amnesty to all student loans. And I know doing some research on Sallie Mae and stuff like that, we're looking at $1 billion company, and giving amnesty to $1 billion company, that might actually, in my opinion, be bad for the economy. I just wanted to know some input from the panel.
If I could start off, student loans are the #2 source of U.S. household debt currently, and that amount is set to, or expected to reach $1 trillion this year. So there's a significant amount of loan money that we're talking about here. At the same time, if we think about what the government's done in terms of bailing out banking, we don't have the same kind of response in terms of bailing out student loan debt. So there's another difference in terms of those of us who don't have wealth and power and those that do. So instead of bailing education out, for example, money is diverted to things like war, it's diverted to the criminal justice system. Teachers are not being hired, whereas criminal justice folks are. Tuition has increased on average across the United States from $15,600 a year for a full-time year to $18,900 in 2007-08. So there's been a significant amount of change, and the change has also been correlated with the amount of student loan debt. So student loan debt over that period of time, let's see, in 2007, 2008, those who graduated had on average about $23,000 in student loan debt. And then back to a point that I was making previously, we're not preparing our students to go out and take on the jobs that are available and that need to be created to push our society in the right direction. So we're doing a miserable job here preparing students to begin with. And then we send them out unprepared to deal with the demands of the new changes and the coming needs of our society. And then on top of that, we dump a lot of debt on them. So we do see a lot of students struggling just to get their feet on the ground. I'm one of them who may be paying student loans until I'm retired or maybe afterwards. So it definitely impacts then the quality of life that our students can achieve once they're out.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I also, besides participating in Occupy, I've been making a real effort to keep up with the conversation on this. And I'd like to note that a lot of these problems, Occupy does not feel that they are encumbered with coming up with a solution. The fact is, there's many possible solutions. We're at still a more basic stage, identifying the problems and getting people to talk about it. This is a problem that people don't even want to talk about. And it goes even deeper. I mean, SIUE is a good college. You know, when we get out of here, we at least have a good degree. Whether we can get a good job or not still remains to be seen. But there are other schools that are taking advantage and are getting those student loans for their students so they can make a profit. And that's all they're about. There are some things that capitalism does extremely well. And there are some things that it should not be involved in any way, shape, or form. I wouldn't want to have a fire department that only came to put out my fire if I had paid them a set fee every year. I don't think that would be a good system. Also, even if my neighbor had paid, but I had not, he might be unhappy with that policy when his house burns down because they let mine burn. I mean, there's just some things that capitalism does not do well. I consider that even healthcare falls under that. I don't think whether I can make somebody a profit should determine whether I live or die. I think that's inherently a bad system. I'm not in favor of a socialized, totally government-controlled economy. There are in-betweens, as I mentioned before. Canada has addressed some of these issues. The European nations have addressed some of these issues. Whether or not you go to college has less to do with how much money your parents have than whether you're capable of it or not. That sounds like a better system to me, but the exact dimensions, it's not up to Occupy to say. It's just we know that it's a problem, and we want people to start talking about it.
Thank you. Dr. Lovell?